It is 6 o'clock. I'll call the June 9th, 2026 meeting of the Wythe County Board of Supervisors to order. I will say that we do have a quorum with all members present with the exception of Supervisor Terry, who is out tonight. Tonight we have Pastor Steve Knupp with us from Fort Chisholm Church of Christ to provide the invocation. If you would stand. One thing I would like to do before we allow our pastor to pray, a lot of you know that we did lose a deputy over in Carroll County over the past couple of weeks, lost his life in the line of duty, and I would ask for a moment of silence. All right, thank you, Pastor Knupp.
Let's pray together. Our God, our Father, who art in heaven, how great is your most high and most holy name. We are thankful unto you for this great nation in which we have the privilege to live. We thank you for the freedoms we enjoy each and every day, the freedoms of going about our everyday walks of life without fear of interruption or molestation. And we pray to you, our Heavenly Father, that the freedoms we do enjoy may continue well into the future. We thank you for this time tonight, for those who serve our community, who hold these board meetings. We pray that you'll give them wisdom, give them courage, help them to do those things that are for the betterment of the citizens of this area. We pray, our Heavenly Father, that all that is done is good and correct and moral according to your will. And we pray that those who would render evil in our society, that you would defeat them in that we as Americans can be called one nation under your name. We call upon you to bless us, although at times we should ask for your mercy. As we look about us, we see so many things that are abominations to you. And we pray that those things may be removed from our society, that they may be defeated. But tonight, be with these men and women who lead us. Give them the right heart. Give them the right mind. And help them that they may rule according to your word. Most importantly, our Heavenly Father, we thank you for your Son, as through him and his death and our obedience to your will, we have that hope of eternal life someday in heaven with you. All these favors and blessings we now ask in the name of your Son, our Savior, Jesus Christ, and amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda is citizens' time. As always, I would ask if you just state your name when you come up. Just remind you have 3 minutes. And if we could keep it with issues impacting Wythe County. First person we have is Mr. Joe DeBoer.
My name is Joe DeBoer, and I live at 158 Widener Way, Rural Retreat, Virginia. I've stepped to this podium tonight to express my opinion with regard to development in Wythe County, and that is that if it is set up in a zone that is designed for that, then it needs to be able to be utilized for that. We'll talk about data centers. If it's in that zone that we've designed for that, that should be there, and that should be it. The reason why I say that is because a lot of times you run into a situation by which, because we have no zoning in our county, that we can have some hodgepodge stuff that we cannot be able to handle. We do have that situation in western Wythe at this juncture in time, and with regard to residential, et cetera, and that creates a problem. So we want, as it's set up right now, with what we've been doing here, as going to put the data center down in the industrial park, that's fine. We need the tax base, but that's about it, because of the simple fact that we don't have a good plan with regard to that issue. We need to be able to have that plan for us in Wythe County. In the past, we've had good plans in Wythe County. Wythe was a beautiful city, town in our region because of planning. We must have quality planning and supervision with regard to that. The situation that we have with our industrial park, we have gone through that over the years. We have no growth in our county. We need to have a little growth in order for that to happen. I thank you for your time and have a great day.
Thank you, Mr. DeBoer. Next person we have signed up to speak is Ms. Catherine Clemens.
Hello. I stand before you all again today to plead for Wythe County in the fight against data centers. If it wasn't bad enough struggling to reason with you all about one, we now have two to dispute with you all. And I know it's the last thing you all want to hear at this point, and I understand that the second plot was sold privately. However, it's my duty as a Wythe County born and raised citizen to protect the home I love, which is clearly not something that seems that you guys are handling too well with that. I have one question. As fellow Wythe County citizens, how are you able to look at our community, all the beauty, all the heritage, and all the ecosystems that are so worth preserving, and then you decide you're going to let it slip out from under us to people who are only here to benefit off of our land so they can make a quick paycheck? It's up to you to protect and advocate our home from this happening. And you've decided to betray your own community, is what I feel like. You have had your community express concerns for months, and you say we're going based off of false information. However, then a data center comes to you, they present you with false information, and you immediately trust them, sign NDAs, and have closed meetings. Are you even for our community, or are you more concerned with money at this point? Have you taken into consideration that your future generations are not going to have the same opportunities and get to enjoy Southwest Virginia like you have? There will be nothing worth preserving once they're done covering our county with concrete, faceless buildings. We need restrictions on this plague in our county. You should admit to your mistakes and take away your decision in welcoming data centers to Wythe County. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Clemens. Next person we have signed up to speak is Ms. Miranda Edwards.
Good evening. My name is Miranda Edwards. I'd like to start off by expressing my disappointment in our county's Board of Supervisors. You were elected to protect our community, and instead you welcome with open arms now 2 data centers. For months, you have listened to the community sharing our concerns about data center development. You have genuine concerns presented to you, and in return we get expressionless faces and no answers to our questions. You state you care about the well-being of our families and your families living here, but what have you done to fulfill that? You bring a second data center over 1,000 acres. You claim the use of a closed-loop system as the solution to the water usage, but what about the massive electric demand? What about the hazardous chemical leaks? What about the noise pollution not only affecting humans but wildlife? Have you considered the heat islands these data centers will cause? What about the increased cancer rate prevalence associated with data centers? What about ecosystems you're disrupting by cutting down trees and polluting our environment? What does it take to get a response from you? You degrade our intelligence by stating we did the same thing a lot of us did. You did the same thing a lot of us did, which is apparently get on Google and just read all the horror stories. This is degrading, and you never respond to our questions, which makes me believe you don't actually have the answers to what we are presenting. I have taken the time to educate myself with my Master's of Public Health and Global Environmental Health, and you have expressed yourself you are unsure of what you've welcomed. At the 5/12/26 meeting, a board member stated, and I quote, "With the closed-loop cooling system, who knows if it's going to work? We don't know if we're going to wake up tomorrow, but you got to go based off what you're told." This is poor representation of our community. No, you don't go based off what you're told. You get out and you do your own research. You should question any number given to you. You talk to the communities with a data center and see how well it's going. I'm sure the ones living without clean water would love to tell you how great these data centers are going. I'd like to share that our community has a petition that was started just 5 days ago and already has over 1,300 signatures that are verified. We have a Preserve Wythe Facebook page with over 800 members. Please keep in mind 1,000 or so names are about 10% of Wythe voters, which is what I understand is necessary to launch a recall. You have a concerned community, and we are telling you we want you to reconsider your decision regarding data center development. We are tired of the NDAs, we're tired of the code names, we're tired of the closed door meetings, one of which will be happening today. You've lost our trust, and you've certainly lost our vote in the next re-election. We vote for you to work for us, but at the end of the day, who are you actually working for? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Evans. Next person we have signed up to speak is Mr. Eric Camden.
Hey, folks. I'm Dr. Eric Camden. I'm a father, a husband, a Christian, and an almost lifelong citizen of Wythe County. I'm an opponent of data centers. You've heard all the concerns, so there's no need to repeat them. Just take a quick look at the news. Most citizens across the entire country are opposed to data centers, and the proponents are the only developers or those who stand to financially benefit from them. Some argue that a data center is coming to Progress Park because it was specifically designed for data centers. That's absurd. I argue that the park was specifically designed for industry, for production of tangible goods, not a warehouse of data with 10 employees. I filter my biblical worldview through Scripture. In Genesis, God gave man dominion over earth, and we use that dominion to steward it, not to stifle it. I'm about as far from a traditional climate change or global warming activist as one could be. However, I am for proper stewardship of our environment, and there's no doubt about the evidence demonstrating how data centers negatively influence the local environment. These aren't speculations, but scientific measurements of environmental markers such as rising air and soil temperatures around data centers, water consumption, electricity, and so forth. Yet again, I looked at Solus Arc's website yesterday. It hasn't changed from when they first posted it. Still looks like the project of a middle school computer science student. That's pretty cutting edge, right? Matthew 16:26 asks, "For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul?" County supervisors, adopting these data centers means exchanging the soul of the county for some tax revenue. And the soul of our community should always supersede the needs of a soulless enterprise. Is that exchange really worth $10 million? What good is that money if there's no longer a community or just a shell of our former community to use it on? It's clear these developers don't operate in good faith. I urge you guys to act swiftly on the zoning or the land use ordinance to prevent further destruction of our community. I've heard some members sometimes feel attacked by public comment, but you're only getting a glimpse of what the community experiences each time a new data center or code name project is announced. The question is simple: will you act in accordance with your community or in accordance with Solus Arcs and not look us in the eye or face us directly?
Thank you, sir. Next person we have to speak is Denise Davis.
Good evening. I'm beginning to feel like Jack Nicholson in The Shining. I'm back. Anyway, as of June 4th, the National Integrated Drought Information System, or the NDIS, states that 29,235 people in Wythe County are affected by drought. That's 100% of the folks in Wythe County, and there's been no change since last week and no change since last month. January to April of this year is the driest year to date over the past 132 years, and the 14th driest April in 132 years. The NIDIS rates Wythe County in the D2 severe drought category, which means hay and pasture supply are low, cattle are weaned early, and producers are feeding livestock supplemental hay and baling corn for feed. Also, reservoir levels are low and the water table is dropping. I've talked to a few farmers who confirm some of this. The people's first cut of hay is half the normal amount, and farmers are weaning calves early and selling early due to low water supply. I had no idea how many cattle there were in the county until I started looking at drought conditions. So just to share with you, there's an estimated 24,254 cattle in drought, 31,135 acres of hay in drought, 1,479 acres of corn in drought, and 2,465 sheep in drought. And these numbers come from the USDA's National Agricultural Statistics Service. With at least 2 data centers in the works, and possibly a third in the county, I wonder if the demand for water continues to increase, if and when data centers are up and running, who gets first dibs on the water? Who makes the decision as to who gets the water first? Will farmers be forced to reduce their herds and livelihood for the sake of a data center? Will Wythe County residents be forced to follow water restrictions for the sake of a data center? Will businesses and industries be restricted as to the number of gallons they can use per day for the sake of a data center? Do you think folks will mind being mandated to change their lifestyles so a data center can continue to run, so the county can continue to get millions of dollars promised by a data center? The entire earth is the hottest it has ever been in the history of the world right now. And with the Super El Nino beginning and predicted to continue at least through the spring of 2027, the likelihood of atmospheric conditions improving are extremely thin. All of the aforementioned bits of information should be considered before sacrificing our land and resources to a data center. And I do thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak, and I would have said that at the beginning, but I was afraid I'd run out of time.
Thank you, Ms. Stone. Next person signed up is Ms. Stacy Beamer.
Stacy Beamer, as you know. I had something written out, but as I listened to these young ladies, our future here, speak out to you, saying the same things that these older adults have been saying to you since December, I'm very concerned. This is not a Wythe County data center thing. This is bigger. And if you have not followed the news to look at what's happening in other states with water, how they're using the water, how many gallons, and what's going on, then there's something wrong. That you're welcoming data centers into our county. It's wrong. Look at the data. Quit looking at money. Look at the research. Look at what's happening. They're right about water. Everybody's tearing stuff down, building concrete buildings. No one's planting a single tree. That's why our earth is hot. That's why we have drought. You know, I came back from the beach. I didn't look at any of this for a week at the beach, and I came back Sunday, and I looked at our petition that someone started. We had 700 signatures. Rand and I got together along with everybody, started sharing it. In 2 days, we're up to 1,300 and, so we've doubled in 2 days. Wythe County's waking up. The citizens are waking up. You know, they thought the data center project in Progress Park was a fluke, and now they see what's really happening, and they are waking up, and they are angry. We've had one person in support of the data center since December that's been in this room to talk, and we have a lot more people joining us. Listen to us. Listen to us. Quit looking at the money. Take care of our county. Look at what's happening everywhere in this world. We have people in our Wythe Preserve that are transplants. You know why they came here? To get away from that crap. And now guess what we're getting? Our town won Downtown of the Year. People are going to want to come to this county and invest and live. Not anymore. Not with data centers coming. I'm urging you, when you discuss this secret so-called project that's coming up, which I'm sure the JID is going to try to sell you like they did the last one, don't look at dollar signs. Stop. Do your research. Listen. Go somewhere and visit. See what it's about. Don't take their word. Because some of you have admitted we just took their word. We had nothing to go on. We did what they told us. Don't do what people tell you. Listen to the citizens. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Beamer. So next person on the list, I'm gonna go ahead and apologize if I butcher your last name. Jeff
Jeff McQuarrie.
McQuarrie, that's what I was gonna say, but
I am one of those transplants Stacy just referred to.
so welcome.
Yeah, it is beautiful here. Good evening. The news of the TAC, or TAC Data Center, as published in the June 4th Cardinal News, was shocking in its blunt and assertive announcement of what many here had been speculating regarding the buyers of the ROG property. The TAC Data Center is expected to be approximately 4 times the size and scope of the SolarSarx Data Center, with a proportional addition of tens of millions of tax revenue dollars to the county. TAC General Counsel Brian Durrett assures us in the article that the TAC Data Center will be a good neighbor, promising minimal traffic, minimal visual impact, minimal noise, and minimal water use. Sounds like his company invented the perfect data center. Why am I not convinced? So now Wythe County will soon have 2 data centers, the first one planned and courted, the second an apparent surprise, but both welcomed by Wythe County leadership. As the article notes, that Wythe County looks forward to working with TAC. Mr. Burr describes this board and county leadership as, quote, forward-looking. So what does this board see looking forward? Is that it? Are we done? Have we gotten enough data centers now? Enough tax revenue? If not, how many more would suffice? How much more tax money is needed? Can we imagine what 10 of these hyperscaler facilities might look like spread across the county, sited on large tracts of agricultural land that was bought by proxies and by shell corporations serving as fronts for multinational tech corporations? Is 15 too many? Each with on-site diesel generators and diesel storage tanks for tens of thousands of gallons of fuel, or possibly mini nuclear power plants. Does this board and the county staff leadership support unlimited hyperscaler data center development? If not unlimited, then what is the limit? When will enough be enough? We have few legal mechanisms to thwart this invasion, this 21st century version of Appalachian wealth extraction. Permit challenges and mistakes by developers may delay construction, and the proposed land use ordinance at least provides a public hearing process to record residents' objections and would require supervisors to vote on record for special use projects such as data centers. It appears that the majority of Wythe residents oppose AI data centers here. Opposition to the land use ordinance is based in large part on mistrust of government overreach by aggressive code enforcement, along with additional costs for permits and administrative costs for staffing and operating a zoning and code enforcement department. This board should work to mitigate these valid concerns. Strengthen your resolve to prevent outside multinational concerns from exploiting this county's natural beauty and resources. Strengthen restraints on overzealous code enforcement in the land use ordinance in writing to address the overreach concerns of the residents here and gain needed support. This board should publicly present with residents with their specific position and practical intentions regarding future AI data center development, particularly on agricultural land. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, sir. Next person we have signed up is Hannah Ainsworth. Is that correct?
Hi, Hannah Ainsworth. Revisiting the December presentation about the Solus Arcs, which I recently rewatched, there were several things I found highly concerning. One, I was very concerned to hear the repeated assurance that the Solus Arcs project was okay because the site had been vetted for a data center back in 2014. Now that's concerning because that's apples and oranges. A data center in 2014 or 2015 or 2016 or 2017 and so on is not the same as the Solus Arcs project, a hyperscale AI data center. A 2014 era data center is mostly for storing, retrieving, and lightly processing data. Yes, the things that we use the internet for. A hyperscale AI data center, on the other hand, is primarily for heavy processing, like calculating the probability of every pixel and every frame of every video, computing every combination of every word of every page in a large document to summarize. And you might think, wow, processing every combination of words sounds like a lot of work, and it is. It requires a lot of energy, and that creates a lot of heat, and it requires specialized machinery that you don't use for just storing data. AI data centers serve a different purpose, have different equipment, and thus have much greater water and energy needs than a regular data center. So my question to you would be to ask yourselves, who led y'all to believe that a data center back in 2014 and its resource needs was comparable to an AI hyperscale data center? Because it's a misleading comparison that continues to impact our county. This brings me to my second concern. At the December meeting, over and over again, we heard the word indicate. Solus Arcs indicates they'll use a closed loop system. Solus Arcs doesn't indicate they'll use more than 2,000 gallons a day. Solus Arcs hasn't indicated they'll use groundwater. Okay, so they've indicated. That doesn't seem to be a commitment or a legally binding agreement. Anyone can frankly indicate anything. How is this county going to hold companies and corporations like this responsible? What tools are you going to use to protect this county? Now, there are a growing number of organizations and groups with policy experts surrounding AI data centers. I would truly urge the board to start reaching out to some of these groups. An example might be the Virginia Data Center Reform Coalition, and ask for advice on how y'all might be able to leverage tools to protect this county from being exploited. Because these corporations have no allegiances to this area, the people, or the land. I am pro-technology, but against exploitation. News of now a 1,000-acre AI facility has left me speechless. This county doesn't need just indications. We need commitments to protecting our area and resources. We don't need AI hyperscale data centers. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Haynes. Next person we have on the list to speak is Ms. Sarah Bates.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you all once more. I want to start with an apology. I've been learning about the Dillon Rule, and repeatedly I was asking you for a moratorium that I now understand was outside of your jurisdictional ability. So I'm really sorry I didn't understand that about Virginia procedure and law sooner. My next point is, I'm just going to read it. I think I'll be better at that. I understand it's within your authority to enact an emergency land ordinance specifying any proposed project requiring more than a power demand that you choose and a water demand that you choose will require a public hearing for consideration. Andy's asked repeatedly, I'm asking now. If you can't do a moratorium, you certainly have a power to put that kind of temporary move in place while we sort this out as a community. I read the statement this week that the proposed land ordinance was 3 years in the planning now. And yet, in my mind, with no NDA, you'd say there was none. You knew this was coming. We all have awareness now that you were aware for months that this data center at Progress Park was under consideration. Why didn't you act sooner? I am now asking directly, take a stance individually. Be open about your beliefs with us. Elections aren't far off. 70% of the nation is against this and speaking out openly. Locally, our petition shows you that I'm not standing alone. There are far more people I know of behind what I'm saying than there seem to be in support of any more. And if our only recourse right now is to ask and plead with you, just give us a temporary ordinance. I did see examples of that in the history of Wythe County. Looking online, you've done this several times where you've declared farming was a priority for the county. Therefore, you were enacting a temporary sort of ordinance or stance. I'd like a response from each of you. I'd like to understand what you really feel. I think you got caught in the pinchers of some stuff that you didn't have a full understanding of. I think nationwide, our attitude has changed. And my last question is, what happens if Solus Arcs doesn't keep to its first compliance goal within the purchase? Does the county then get the money for the land purchase?
Thank you,
I'd
Ms.
like
Bates.
some answers.
Thank you, Ms. Bates. That's all we had signed up for citizens' time, so I'll close citizens' time. The next item on the agenda is the public hearing. First one we have is employee bonus ordinance. Mr. Byer?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, if you would like, I would like to read the notification. In compliance with the Code of Virginia of 1950 and amendments thereto, the Wythe County Board of Supervisors will conduct a public hearing to consider a proposed ordinance entitled Employee Bonus Ordinance of Wythe County, Virginia. The public hearing shall be held June 9, 2026 at 6:05 p.m. in the Wythe County Board of Supervisors Meeting Room, 340 South 6th Street, Wytheville, Virginia. The public may comment in person at the public hearing or submit written responses to County Clerk Martha Collins at the address below or email at mgcollins@withco.org. A copy of the proposed ordinance may be viewed at the County Administrator's Office, 290 South 6th Street, Suite 350, Wytheville, Virginia, for public review.
Thank you, Mr. Byer.
Mr. Chairman, I will just, I will start with a comment. While the General Assembly has not adopted a budget yet, the General Assembly has taken action to approve, within their budget, a bonus for all constitutional officers, which is our sheriffs, treasurers, commissioners, all those. They have approved a bonus for the education for the school system, and they have also approved a bonus for DSS as well. What you have in front of you here is a proposed ordinance to provide that bonus to all of those employees and county employees.
All right, thank you, Mr. Byer. From what I'm hearing, it don't look like we're gonna have a approved budget from the state no time soon. So, we didn't have anybody signed up to speak on either one of the public hearings, so do we need to take action on this one?
I would go ahead and close the public hearing then, sir.
All right, I'll close the public hearing on this one.
And Mr. Chairman, if you all would like to take action to approve said ordinance, I would recommend that you do so at this time, or
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the employee bonus ordinance as presented.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Burnett. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Morgan. Any questions or concerns about the ordinance? Hear none, Mr. Morgan, we'll start with you.
Aye.
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 So approved. Next public hearing we got is former jail property conveyance. Mr. Bryant.
yes, so notice the public hearing. The Wythe County Board of Supervisors will conduct a public hearing on Tuesday, June 9, 2026 at 6:05 p.m. to hear public comments for the potential conveyance of parcel 41A-1-33-4, the former jail property. The public hearing will be held in the Board of Supervisors Meeting Room, 340 South 6th Street, Wytheville, Virginia. Any resident who wishes to speak regarding the conveyance is encouraged to do so at the hearing. Any person who wishes to submit written comments for inclusion in the record should email County Clerk Martha Collins at mgcollins.withco.org, call 276-223-4504, or write to Wythe County, attention Martha Collins, 290 South 6th Street, Suite 350, Wytheville, Virginia, 24382.
All right, thank you, Mr. Byrne. Again, nobody signed up to speak for this public hearing, so I'll close public hearing on that one.
Mr. Chairman, I would ask that this deed is, its conveyance is in compliance with the new emergency services agreement that we have previously executed with the town. I would request a motion for the board to authorize the chairman to execute this deed.
All right. I got a motion by Mr. Cook. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Martin. Any questions or concerns about it? All right, here none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Burnett, we'll start with you.
Aye.
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 So approved. Yes, thank you, sir. If you could put that down on about 62, we'd be good.
Was there 7 in front of me?
So it's a little warm. I'll give you my jacket. Next item on the agenda is payment of invoices. All members received a packet of the invoices. Is there any invoices that you have questions about or that you'd like to pull out? All right, here none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the invoices as presented.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Martin. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Burnett. Any questions? All right, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Morgan?
Aye.
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 So approved.
Mr. Chairman, I would just comment that total expenditures there was $6 million. 4.5 million of that was the repaying of the interim financing. We did get the loan closed with rural development, so our interim financing loan has now been paid off. So, thank you.
Good deal. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from our previous meeting, May 26, 2026. I got a motion to approve by Mr. Cook. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Martin. Any questions or concerns? Does anything need to be added or taken away? Or hear none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anybody opposed, same sign. So approved. Next item on the agenda is old business. First item we have is Progress Park East Oppel Statement. Mr. Byrne?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I'm pleased to introduce that we have with us tonight Kate Franco with Fluid Stack. Fluid Stack has just within the last couple of weeks purchased the Solus Arcs Data Center project, and already they are here to represent and present before you in the process. So I would like to introduce Ms. Kate Franco.
Ms. Franco?
Chairman, board members, thank you so much for having me tonight, and concerned citizens. I'd like to take a few minutes to explain what a data center actually is, and then go through the reasons that this development, I think, will be very beneficial for Wythe County. First and foremost, a data center is the physical home of the internet. The only part of an internet connection that actually goes through the air, despite us all calling it the cloud, is the Wi-Fi connection from our devices, like our phones or our laptops, to a router in the building or structure that we're in. So when we use our phones for maps or search or any sort of query on an app, or we use our laptops for email or any number of different things, the queries that we're sending do travel through the air very briefly from our devices to our routers. After that, from the router on, that internet connection and the data processing physically travels through high-speed wires all over the world to a data center and back to our devices, all in fractions of a second. So data centers, while they may be new for Wythe County.
If y'all need to have a conversation, we can take it outside. Don't interrupt the lady while she's speaking. Thank you.
So while data centers are new to Wythe County, they're not new in the rest of the world. Data centers as a hyperscale industry have been around for about 20 years, just over that. But data centers have existed in one form or another since we have had broad internet access. So more than 30 years now, very easily. The first hyperscale data center, which is really just a very large data center instead of lots of small ones, opened in Oregon in 2007 or so. It was a Google data center. And I know that because I am with Fluid Stack now and with this development at Solus Arcs at Progress Park. But I spent the past 6 years supporting Google's data center development on the Google side of the industry. They are new to people here, like I said. But I would love to explain why they are beneficial, how we use water and energy, how we develop commitments to each community, how we work with each community, and how we intend to operate here. All of this will be documented and contracted with you and through permits with various regulatory agencies and local organizations to ensure total compliance as we move forward. As Stephen mentioned, we just closed on the land in the past week or two, and so we are new to this area, but I'm glad to be here tonight presenting the program and the project. So first and foremost, we are in an industrial park, and data centers are considered generally light industry or light industrial designations. We did hear earlier that there were concerns about chemical usages and preferences for a heavier industry in an industrial park. The reality is, though, data centers do not store or use large-scale industrial-level chemicals, so there is no risk of pollution of the land, the air, or the water resulting from a data center. Additionally, I'm just going through several points now, we have not and will not ask anyone here to sign a non-disclosure agreement. There's no need for an NDA. We're very happy to be completely transparent about our plans and our progress towards our contractual commitments to develop this site. On the water usage, I understand completely that water usage is a concern with much of the country in various levels of drought. A closed loop system genuinely does use less water than a traditional evaporative cooling method. Data centers many years ago often used evaporative cooling pretty exclusively use evaporative cooling because it's highly efficient. Water can absorb a lot of heat from the servers that are in these data centers. And then we cool it down and it evaporates and then we can circulate water again. A closed loop is completely different. Tanks are filled up once, and then the average daily usage becomes approximately equal to that of 7 or so average homes. So if we were to take this plot of land and build a private road and build a tiny development on it with 7 or so houses, that would be the same amount of water that we're going to use on an annual basis. The huge majority of that water goes to domestic purposes. We will have employees at these data centers, so we need things like bathrooms and kitchens. That's the majority of the operational use. On the energy front, it is true that in many parts of the country, power costs are rising for communities. But it is also true that in many parts of the country, our energy grid has not been kept up to date for several decades. The way energy pricing generally works at a very high level is that a utility company has to maintain their wires in their service. They have substations, they have transmission lines, they have a lot of infrastructure that they have to maintain. When they need to do an upgrade, the energy company itself pays for that upgrade. And then at the end of the construction and development, they add up the total cost and distribute it to pay themselves back to the residential users. So in most communities, residents themselves and customers of the utility are the ones paying for the upgrade to the utility that services their homes. That's the way most of the US electrical grid works. When a data center comes to town, though, a data center needs those upgrades as a single user. It's actually the same upgrades that everybody else needs also. But a data center needs it prospectively and for themselves right away. So what they do is they pay for those upgrades, meaning that the utility does not have to distribute costs to other residential users. This is why communities with data centers actually have more stable and often lower energy rates than communities without. The data center pays for the energy and upgrades that the data center needs. These costs do not get shared to residential users. Any infrastructure that the data center needs, the data center is required to pay for. So the data center pays for its energy needs, it pays for the energy infrastructure it needs, it pays for the water infrastructure it needs, it pays for the wastewater infrastructure it needs. If it's using that, it pays for the roads that it will be using for any sort of expansions or changes or repairs. And any other infrastructure that I'm not naming right now that the data center needs is the obligation of the data center to pay. And that's exactly how FluidStack will operate in this community. We also hear a lot, and tonight, about a low number of jobs at a data center. Most of the industry, when they're seeking permits and approvals with a local municipality, just like yourselves, will commit to whatever number of jobs they're legally required to commit to on paper. So sometimes to build a new facility in a given community, that community's regulations might require that that company commit to, say, 30 jobs or 50 jobs, or sometimes 0 jobs. In that case, the data center itself will commit to exactly that number, which is what has led to the public perception that there are a very low number of jobs at these facilities. But the reality is that is just a mechanism to ensure that we can develop our data centers, can develop over time as they need to. Because unlike a traditional manufacturing facility, data centers are very complex long-term projects, and we will not be moving in thousands of workers overnight with their families. So the jobs will not materialize all in one night, or one season, or even one year. The jobs materialize as the buildings are finished and the campus is built out. And the reality of any data center campus is that it takes hundreds to thousands of people to operate those facilities. At this campus for Solis Arcs, we anticipate 200 to 500 or so employees on that campus on a daily basis. And we fully recognize and want to hire from the local communities. I truly think data centers are a phenomenal investment for communities all across America because the jobs cut across the entire skill set spectrum. Oftentimes, though certainly not every time, people with 4-year degrees or military officer experience will become the site leads and the site managers. Often, but certainly not always, people with 2-year degrees will become technicians. We need HVAC technicians, electricians, cable layers, server ops technicians, general facilities technicians, and skill sets along those lines. Many, many, many community colleges across the country have training programs and degree programs in all of those areas. And when they don't, we work with them to create them. Finally, there are a lot of job opportunities, dozens to hundreds, for people with no degree at all. Every data center campus needs security, food service, janitorial, maintenance, even yard care, things like that. So the opportunities at a data center are for everyone. And it is to everyone's advantage at the data center company to hire from the local area. And we fully intend to do that to the extent possible. There is a noise statute here. We would obviously fall within that noise statute. This goes back to the compliance issue that was raised earlier. We fully intend to abide by all laws, and we expect audits, contracts, permits, and everything else to ensure that compliance. I mentioned that there are no risks of chemical leaks. There are no higher cancer rates in data center communities. I have worked at many data center campuses where there are daycares bordering the property. Those kids are completely fine. Those have been operating for decades. There's no higher cancer rates, like I said, and we're already in an industrial area here, so we don't anticipate residential neighbors anyway. It was also raised, though, that this site was designated as acceptable or suitable for a data center more than 10 years ago. And while it is absolutely true that data centers from 2014 are radically different than data centers in 2026, I will actually offer that the 2026 version of data center is a lot better than the 2014 version. We increase efficiencies in water usage, energy usage, land usage, and our ability to create compute power for smaller units of energy every year. The industry is constantly creating efficiencies because they need to save money too. Running these things is very expensive. Building them is extremely expensive. It is in the industry's interest to create efficiencies wherever they can and continue iterating and improving the equipment and the campus developments to ensure that they can spend as little as possible and contain their own costs. Finally, it was also raised that a company doesn't have any allegiance to locals if they're not from here. I would actually offer the opposite. As a company that's coming in, FluidStack fully intends to work with all of you and local people to both source employees and to ensure that we are a productive and a contributing member of the community. We want to work with all of you to create community benefits agreements. We want to support your schools, your nonprofits, and the people of this area to ensure that we are a positive and productive member. As I mentioned, we will be hiring from the local area, so we absolutely want those people to feel proud of their work and proud to go to work every day. So we really look forward to working with all of you. I'm happy to answer any questions, but I also would like to conclude by requesting a review and approval of the estoppel agreement. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Does anyone have any questions for him?
This will not be the only opportunity to engage as well. I wanted to be sure to come tonight to introduce myself and the company, but we look forward to working with you on a very regular basis as we progress the development.
All right. Thank you.
I have a few comments. So you see a representative of the county.
Yes.
And that's a lot of people are upset about the transparency.
Yep.
So if we can start getting answers to a lot of their questions in a web-based platform.
Yes.
And other types of,
Absolutely.
And more engagement here as well, it would be greatly beneficial.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you mentioned that. We do intend to create websites for every project. As I mentioned, we only closed on land a week or two ago, so I haven't had time yet, but we do fully intend to put a website out there with all of the project stats and the development as we go along. So absolutely, and we will definitely be back in person as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Is there another location that you have a data center?
Sorry.
Another location, like, do you?
Fluid Stack?
Yeah,
Yes, we're developing campuses all over the country.
locally, like anywhere around here? Do you know?
Wythe County is the only one that I'm focusing on right now in Virginia.
Is there any in neighboring states?
They're all over the country, like I said, so there's a lot underway.
Any other questions? All right.
Great. Thank you all very much. I appreciate your time tonight.
Mr. Chairman, I would ask for your all's approval of this estoppel statement. As we have previously discussed, this just basically indicates that the project as it is now, Scott Farthing, jump in and correct me here, basically is in compliance with the covenants that are in place.
I will entertain a motion to approve the estoppel statement.
Thank you.
All right, here, none.
Not at this time.
Mr. Chairman, the estoppel statement is simply an administrative function. It's a common thing companies ask for in developing projects or potentially transferring projects from principals to a different principal. Essentially saying we're in compliance with existing laws or covenants. This letter specifically is Wythe County saying this lot 35, or whatever lot number it is in compliance with Progress Park covenants. And that is the extent of the letter. And that's what it says. As of today, the county staff, and I agree with their assessment, is that this project is in compliance with the Progress Park covenants. And that's what the letter's asking to have happen here tonight.
Does that generate a motion?
Would we be able, I know it's in our board package, but Mr. Bear, could we go through our covenants bit by bit? Would that be possible?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
And explain so that the people, our residents here would have a clearer understanding?
Hey, absolutely. Whatever y'all like.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start on, well, basically, it is in the board package. The first part of it talks about the statement of purpose for the industrial park, and talks about the uses of what is there, and what's there. It is basically meant to keep it for industrial and the purposes that are there. I won't read through all of the definitions that go with it, but it gets into the permitted uses and the prohibited uses. The prohibited uses, just briefly, I hit them: private dwellings, mobile homes, mining, extraction, processing, and removal of sand, gravel, and stripping of topsoil, except for those that are in a development that has received site plan approval from the Board of Supervisors. Used auto sales and service, churches and other worship facilities, prisons and other facilities used in incarceration or rehabilitation, schools and teaching facilities except for adult learning programs, nonprofit agencies or institutions lacking a direct relationship with the overall purpose of generally permitted uses of the park, and uses inconsistent with the goals of the park as determined by the Board of Supervisors. And then it gets into development standards, and this is where it first talks about a site plan requirement. And the company is required to submit a site plan to the county. And I'll go through the things, but generally what we have received in the past is a letter from the company that indicates we are locating here. It has, and then it has it indicates what they're doing, what they're gonna be located here, and whatsoever. And then they address the items that I'll go through here in a minute, and it'll have a page that addresses their site plan, and it'll show this is the parking lots and the covenants require paid parking and things like that. They'll show their parking areas. It shows lighting plan. It shows what the lighting requirements are supposed to be, what their spillover is. It addresses the building construction material, all of those items. And they submit that site plan into the county, addressing each of those things, and the board has an opportunity to review it. If any of y'all have ever been in the JIDA office, in their conference room, above their window, across all the length of their windows, is actually the picture that they brought in of the Gatorade building when Blue Ridge SVC Manufacturing first came to Wythe County. They brought that in and showed here's what it looks like. That's an example of it. So in the site plan requirement, they have several things. Number one, they have to show what the materials of the building are, and the exterior construction of the front side of the building having specific requirements to go with it. They have to identify and show any accessory structures that are on the property and any equipment that's on the property. Transformers or similar above-ground equipment shall be screened to soften the lines. Dumpsters, recycling equipment, compactors, balers, other waste shall be located in the rear of the building whenever possible, be screened, not to be visible. It has things on the roof surfaces, been consistent of design and material. It has a section on fencing, not allowed without written approval of the Wythe County Board of Supervisors. Outdoor storage areas should be screened and located not visible from adjoining public parcels. And then it talks about they're responsible for maintaining and upkeep of the area. The regulations of improvements, setbacks are in compliance with the subdivision ordinance of Wythe County. That's 35 feet on the front, and I believe it's 10 or 15 feet on the side. I believe it's 10 feet on the side. Utilities, that are there shall be installed under the ground with the exception of overhead lines along interior lines within Wythe County. The gas storage tanks and transformers shall be placed above ground, required to be placed above ground, shall be screened to the extent possible. It talks about grading, being in compliance with the erosion sediment control plan. Parking standards, talks about having the parking that is needed for the site. If the site's running 3 shifts, then you've got to have adequate parking to have, for the shifts that's there. So if you've got 200 people working for you, you've got to have 400 parking spots minimum, because when one shift comes in, the other shift is still there, things like that. They show, they have that. They have the required parking area. The design standards, the location, the paving or other equivalent materials shall be there. Curb and gutter, if required, for stormwater, adjacent to the state right-of-way shall be concrete in accordance with VDOT standards. Landscaping plan, just showing that, how they're landscaping, how they're screening the things, what's going in there. I can still remember the Summit America now, it was WTI at that time when they came in. The type of cherry tree they were planting out front was a special tree that they wanted to have along the front of that, and that was indicated in their plans. Any off-street loading areas, sign standards. If they are putting up a sign advertising their company and name, this signage plan is in effect, like it's been for all of the industries in the park. Do they have a permanent sign? If so, where is it going? The business signs, maximum size on that is 200 square feet. If they're putting the sign on the side of their building, the restrictions of that of 100 square feet. And it discusses monument signs, informational signs, and all of that in the process. And then maintenance. Landscaping standards talks about what they need to put for their screening and all of that. Using native species to Wythe County is encouraged, and diversity of species is being encouraged, and have a maintenance plan to address that in the process. Exterior lighting, that's a concern that a lot of people have. Just in general, of any entry coming in there, all lighting systems shall be designed. They have to submit the plan that shows the foot candles and the light spillover on adjacent property. The lighting systems to be achieved to maintain horizontal illumination level at the ground surface of 1 to 2 foot candles with luminary space to achieve a uniformity ratio of 6 to 1 within the lighted area, and building and sign illumination of what is needed there. Noise, Ms. Franco mentioned that in the process. The ordinance discusses that basically, what it states here is, particular emphasis shall be given to preventing noise generated by normal commercial industrial operations from being clearly audible beyond the boundaries of the parcel on which the operations are conducted, 65 decibels at 500 feet. And then the next goes into environmental protections, occupants, meeting all applicable local, state, federal laws, ordinances, regulations, and policies. Amenities is just talking about green spaces. If we establish green space areas, it's common stormwater detention or other things, all the park covenants, tenants would be required to pay a pro rata share of that. And then if there's any preservation areas designated on a recorded subdivision plat owned and maintained by the county, those remain in place. Then it gets into the right of refusal of conditions and the part that the property park owner shall receive a bona fide offer to buy a property in the park. They have to address that. And then it talks about the amendments and the enforcement of it. It's with county and the designee reserve the right to enforce these covenants. And purchasers also have the right to enforce these covenants. So that is the Progress Park covenants. So the thing that they owe us now is a site plan. As I said, this company, Fluid Stack, has just acquired the property from the previous developers that purchased this from us. This is still Solis Arcs VA1 LLC project that is out there. So the only thing they owe us at this time is that site plan. And then the site plan needs to address all of these things. That comes into you all, and you all have to vote to approve their site plan. So therefore, this estoppel statement, and like Scott said, and I'll ask him to emphasize that, all this is saying is there anything right now that is not in compliance with the Declaration of Covenants? I have reviewed it, Scott has reviewed it, as we've discussed with you all. There is nothing here that they are not in compliance with. Now, if they don't submit a site plan to us, if their site plan does not show that they are addressing these items, then you say, no, you don't have a site plan. If you say, no, you don't have a site plan, then we don't issue a building permit for them to get started. A site plan is part of the approval process of what they need to do to get started. So that is where your control comes in for your Progress Park covenants. I would recommend go ahead and approving this. This is part of the transfer from the previous owners to Fluid Stack for this property to say that there is no violations of the covenants at this time.
Okay, after
Does that
the
help?
review, you have any additional questions, Mr. Burnett?
Is there any reason we wouldn't be able to table this and approve it when they bring us a site plan? Is there any, that they would need this first before the site plan?
Obviously, it's the pleasure of the board what you want to do. What risk does that bring you? And I don't know. This is an administrative function. It's an administrative task. Are you in compliance? It's an easy answer, yes or no. You're either following the rules or you're not. I'm not sure I understand a reason to table it. As of today, they're in compliance. What risk does that give you? I don't know. But it's obviously always your pleasure. You're the board. You guys make the decisions. You decide what you want to do.
All right, thank you.
Anybody else got any questions?
Nope.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the Progress Park estoppel statement.
I'll make that motion.
All right, got a motion by Mr. Cook. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second by Mr. Burnett. Does anybody have any questions or concerns? Or if that, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Burnett?
Aye.
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 So approved. Next item on the agenda under old business is adoption of the county code and fee schedule. Mr. Higgins?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. We discussed this at your last meeting. The adoption of the county code is something that we've been working on for a while now. I think I've been on this for about 3 years, about the same length of time I've been working on the land use classification ordinance. So what we're doing is we are organizing all of the ordinances that previous boards and you have adopted into a unified code that presents it in an orderly, structured sort of way, so that when law enforcement officers are enforcing the code, or we have any question of law that comes up in a court, or when our citizens have a question about how a particular law applies to them, they can find it in an easy, sort of organized way. So this code will be placed on our county website. It'll be accessible through the Minicode online code library, so it'll be a much more widely accessible and easy to use code. You have before you both, you have the county code adoption ordinance, which sets out what we're doing. Basically, you're not repealing anything. There's been very few changes have been made. Most of those have been, if it's an outdated code reference or an outdated section of code that's been repealed by the General Assembly, we've taken out those particular sections. So substantively, it is the same code that you have had and have been enforcing. One of the things that our attorneys with Civic Plus recommended is that we adopt a fee schedule. And we don't put the fees in the code. That you have a fee schedule that you can review annually as part of your budget process and make changes to the fee schedule without having to change the ordinances. So it cuts down on the number of public hearings you would have to have for what essentially is an administrative task. So that's where we are. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have. If you adopt the ordinance, I would ask that you make it effective as of July 1st. We've got to get hard copies out to our courts and our sheriff's office and the offices that have to have a hard copy. And we have to work with Civic Plus to get the code placed online. So I'd ask that you make it effective July 1st.
Mr. Hankins, I'm sorry, go ahead. So I believe before, when we reviewed this before, the question was, any changes you've made, we've got that saved, right?
We have a list in my office of those changes. I didn't provide it. It's a lot of blacked out or a line through copy.
Okay.
But if you have reservations, I'll be glad to review those, and we could do a work session.
Yeah, I just know it was a question, from the citizens when we was here last.
Yes, sir.
All right, so does anybody have any questions to Mr. Hankins?
The fee schedule is the one that we already have, and there's no updated pricing on that from, like, any increases that's on there.
That is correct. We come to you, come to the Budget Committee. I know the Animal Control Office has asked for some increases in its fees, so we'll bring that to the Budget Committee the next time that you meet. But this is what you currently have enacted. Ms. Collins has organized it, put it together. Ms. Nestor in our office has also spent a considerable amount of time helping me go through line by line, word by word, making sure that we're doing what we're supposed to do. So it's been a team effort, and I appreciate them for what they've been able to do.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the county code and fee schedule to be effective July 1st.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Morgan, a second by Mr. Martin?
Yes.
All right. Questions or concerns? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Morgan?
Aye.
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 All right, so approved.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the adoption of the FY '27 county and school board budgets and the CY '26 tax levy. Mr. Brown?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we have had several conversations and our most recent public hearing on the budget. As everyone knows, and as we've discussed earlier, we do not know the time frame on a state budget, but we need to go ahead and adopt our budget with the best information available. And then at the June 30th meeting, we will amend and we will appropriate first quarter amounts. And then if the state has a budget by June 30th, then come back to you all with actions to amend the budget at that time. Be glad to try to answer any questions that you all have, as long as it's not about when the state will pass a budget.
Just for clarification for the folks in attendance tonight, it's not aware of what's going on in Richmond. They're not agreeing on the budget, and it doesn't look like it's gonna get it passed. From what we're hearing, it probably won't be passed before June 30th. So we're doing this to stay ahead of that, and then we'll amend and appropriate as we need to from that. Does anybody else have any questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Martin, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Burnett. All right, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Burnett?
Aye.
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 All right, so approved.
And I will just state, as in the second part of the resolution there, this did not include any tax increases. So just important to state that in the process.
Can you repeat that one more time?
This did not include any tax increases.
Emphasis on did not include. All right, next item on the, under old business is planning commission zoning work session.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. We discussed your direction to the Planning Commission at its most recent meeting. The Planning Commission has scheduled a work session for Monday, June the 22nd at 6 p.m. to discuss the public input that we received and provide guidance on how they think that we ought to proceed with those individual items. Ms. Shelton in the planning office is putting together the list of the suggestions that came in online that we talked about individually, one-on-one, as part of our community conversations. The planning commissioners are submitting those things that may not have been submitted online, and any concerns that were brought up to them or that have been brought up to them as they've been out in the community. If you have any of those concerns that you feel like we're not addressing, if you want to send those to me, we can bring those up with the planning commission at that work session. Once we have that work session, the planning commissioners have asked that they have opportunity to sit down with you all and work through some of those concerns, go through their recommendations on how to handle those things that have come up, and get some further direction on how to proceed. Timing on that is entirely up to you all. I know we've got a lot of meetings coming up with the end of the year and the joint governing bodies, so timing may not work out well to do it in June, but if we get past the 22nd and we've got an opportunity, probably by the end of July to have those discussions, I think Planning Commission would appreciate the guidance. Mr. Burnett, does that accurately capture what we discussed?
Yes.
Appreciate it. Thanks, sir. Again, if anybody has any questions or concerns that we've got, I know some of us has been to some community meetings outside of the ones that we had in certain residential areas. Just send them in to Mr. Hankins and copy Mr. Burnett on it so he won't be blindsided by them, so we get that out. So
Thank you.
there's no action needed from us, right? That was just information.
No, sir, and this is not a public input session. This is for them to go over what has been submitted. There will be further opportunity, I think, for public discussion. That again will be done in cooperation between you and the Planning Commission.
All right, thanks, sir. Next item we have is appointments. First one we have is Mount Rogers Planning District Commission.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Matney has enjoyed serving on there. He's expressed an interest in continuing to serve. He's also expressed he does have some health concerns, but at this point in time, if you all would like to go ahead and appoint him, if there's no other name that's come forth, you could go ahead and appoint Mr. Matney back to the Planning District Commission.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Martin. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Morgan. Any questions about this appointment? I hear none. We'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Morgan.
Aye.
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 So approved. Thank you, Mr. Matney. New River Highlands RC&D Council. Anybody?
Still don't have anyone that I know of, and I guess our alternate, John Hufford, just probably have to be a little more active with, as our main right now. Yes.
Is anything else under old business? Mr.
Recreation Commission, I know he just appointed him, but that was to finish out an unfinished term, so if you want to go ahead and appoint Rusty Beamer again, sir, Ms. Collins would appreciate it.
I make a motion we appoint Rusty Beamer as the Westwoodsville Recreation.
All right, got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Crockett. Any discussions about Mr. Beamer continuing? All right, hear none.
Mr. Beamer was the only one to attend the Recreation Commission meeting last week. We had a meeting scheduled. Several of our folks had to cancel at the last minute. They're still involved in youth sports, and so they had to cancel. Mr. Beamer showed up anyway, so I appreciate him coming out for that.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Burnett, we'll start with you.
Aye.
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 So approved. Thank you, Mr. Beamer. Any other items under old business, Mr. Burnett?
No, sir.
Mr. Hankins?
No, sir.
All right, moving on to new business, the VJCCCA moratorium memorandum agreement. Mr. Breyer?
Yeah, just don't ask me what CCC, no, it's Virginia Juvenile Community Crime Control Act. Glad to have Ms. Ayers and staff here with us today from DSS. They oversee our VJCCCA program. Every year we have to execute this memorandum of agreement, and I would request that you all authorize the execution of this agreement by the county administrator. There's two agreements there. The first one is the VJCCCA local funded provider positions, and the second is the VJCCCA funded contracted community services work program. I believe you could take a motion to adopt both of those in the same action, sir.
All right, I'll entertain. Got a motion by Mr. Cook. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Martin. Is there any questions or concerns? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Morgan?
Aye.
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 So approved. Ms. Ayers, I apologize. I know you were here, but I didn't know that one's yours, or I don't know.
It is the home electronic monitoring and community service program from Juvenile.
Thank you, ma'am. The next item is is that Brian?
Burn Justice
Burn
Grant.
Justice Grant. I'm struggling tonight with names.
Yeah, typically, Mr. Chairman, I run these through Budget Committee. We're at the end of the fiscal year, and Sheriff needs to get things wrapped up, and we need to get things wrapped up. But I would request that you authorize the awarding of this grant in $33,333. That's a $25,000 grant, and the balance of it is a matching local match. I would request that you approve this grant and authorize amendment and appropriation of the same.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve as presented. Got a motion by Mr. Cook. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Burnett. Any questions with that? Here none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Burnett?
Aye.
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 So approved. Next item is the Sheriff's Office Forest Service Grant Carryover Amendment.
Yeah, the sheriff's office had a grant, that they have a grant. There was carryover funds from the year before that they've gotten that were not carried over by us. After a discussion with the sheriff, I finally understand what they've got. He does have some equipment that he's trying to order out of this. So I would request that you all amend and appropriate the $90,000 as shown on the two line items presented.
All right, now entertain a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Martin. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Morgan. Any questions or concerns? Here none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Morgan?
Aye.
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 So approved.
Mr. Chairman, with your permission, may we add one new additional item that I have handed out there, once again, due to year-end requirements. The Animal Control Office had a incident with one of their vehicles. It has been totaled. I would request a budget amendment in the amount of $28,405. This is the amount that we are coming from our insurance company for the total loss of the vehicle, so that we can go ahead and purchase another vehicle.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
A motion by Mr. Cook. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Morgan. Any questions or concerns with this? Hopefully everyone was all right.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Burnett, we'll start with you.
Aye.
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 All right, so approved.
And, Mr. Chairman, on those same lines, right behind it is the purchase order for a used pickup truck that we would like to go ahead and get, and would like to take the check to them. So would you authorize the issuance of a check in the amount of $37,455?
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the request as presented for a new truck.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Morgan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Martin. Any questions or concerns?
I will note that is $8,000 above or whatever above what we're getting back, but they have not asked for an additional amendment and appropriation. They are using other money that they have within their budget to not have to add to our amendments and appropriations. So thank you.
All right.
We have some personnel savings in that budget this year.
All right, good deal. With that, Mr. Morgan, we'll start with you.
Aye.
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 All right, so approved. Anything else under new business?
No, sir.
All right.
We need a break.
I've got a motion for a 5-minute recess. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Martin. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. We'll be right back.
Of course, there's a lot of times that we see stuff and we got information and we need to be transparent. I mean that,
So you sitting back there? Doing all right? Pretty good.
It's gone. So far, everything's. I was telling Dickie, we were.
That's why I got the count, it's because there was no water.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to find a break.
She was asking me how long this would be, you know.
You was at my house?
Yeah.
Dude, I hear.
When I went by, it was there, Cedar Springs Road.
Yeah.
I don't know if I know that, I was there last, I hear Ricky's, you might.
We've got, we're right in Crockett, we're near Crockett Tabernacle, there's a creek that runs through, two out of the, well, no, not three out of three. There's more water there than I ever envisioned. But I'm not feeding this. We're probably gonna have to, we typically wean calves about a month. And we're probably gonna, I'm gonna pull the trigger and probably do it in the road. Thank you.
We gotta wait for Mr. Byer.
thank you.
Hey, we're gonna make a motion to inappropriate. $3.
I'm good, thanks.
I'm good, thanks.
Y'all money. I'll take them first.
All building ground, man, I said, I can't wait.
Your call, Mr. Chair. I'll fill in for him if you need me to.
You got the hammer, hammer down.
Yeah. It's on Jesse anyway, he's building ground.
All right, I'll call us back to order. Next item on the agenda is board reports, Buildings and Grounds Committee.
Yes, Chairman. The Building and Grounds Committee met on June 4, 2026, and has the following recommendation. Engineering term contracts, issue open-end contracts to Pete and Boyce, Mattern and Craig, Thompson and Litton, ZMM and Hurt and Profit, Thrasher and New River Engineering, and to interview Paratech and Rinker Design for consideration of open-end contract.
All right, coming from a committee, it doesn't need a second. Is there any concerns? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Burnett?
Aye.
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 So approved. Anything else, Mr. Burnett?
That's it for the,
All right, next item is the Water Committee.
the Water and Wastewater Committee met on June 4th, 2026, and had the following recommendations. Barrett Mill Road Water Project, approved Division 1, final quantities adjustment change order number 4 for a deduct of $341,042, and approved Division 2, final quantities adjustment change order number 2 for a deduct of $545,013.20.
All right, coming from a committee, it doesn't need a second. Is there any questions or concerns about this request?
I'd just like to thank them for coming in under budget. Yep. And we got the whole project completed, people out at Barrett Mill got the water now, and it came in quite a bit under budget, so
Always good.
thankful for that.
Yep. All right, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Morgan?
Aye.
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 So approved.
Second item is water rates. A, public hearing, set a public hearing for July 14th, 2026, to consider a 5% water rate increase and a water connection fee increase to $2,300 per connection. And B, enterprise zone rates, set the Progress Park enterprise zone rates as presented.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion to approve item A first.
Yeah.
Oh, it's coming from committee, it doesn't need a second, so we'll do item A first.
Okay.
Then we'll go back and get B. Is there any questions about item A? All right, here none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Burnett?
Aye.
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 So approved. Now we'll go back to item B. Is there any questions or concerns about item B? Again, coming from the committee, it doesn't need a second.
Mr. Chairman, I will point out, as stated here, this is in the industrial park.
Thank you, sir. All right, here none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Morgan?
Aye.
I'll abstain.
Aye.
Aye.
So approved. Thank you, sir.
Item 3, Dunford Road interim financing. Authorize the county administrator to enter into negotiations with VML VACO Finance for the Dunford Road interim financing.
All right, again, coming from the committee, it doesn't need a second. Is there any questions or concerns with this request? Here none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Burnett?
Aye.
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 So approved.
And the fourth item is New River Regional Water Authority approve the resolution supporting the issuance of a revenue refunding bond by the New River Regional Water Authority.
Again, coming from the committee, it doesn't need a second. Is there any questions or concerns with that? Here none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Morgan?
Aye.
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 All right, so approved. Anything else, Mr.
And there's nothing else.
All right, thank you, sir. Next item on the agenda is Board Supervisor time, and Mr. Burns, since you got the hot mic, we'll just thank you.
Very well. I only have a few things. I'd like to thank VDOT for the road maintenance and quick response after some heavy rains in the Lead Mines District particularly. I will mention that the Family Dollar in Barron Springs is back on the market for $799,000 if anybody has some pocket change for a community center. And the last thing I have, and I don't do this very often, but you know, with everything going on in the county, the most people I've had contacting me and telling me no on something has been the land use ordinance. And I think a lot of that is because there's not enough information out there for them, you know, so I get a lot of no's on solar and a lot of no on data, but the most have been the land use ordinance. And with what's coming in that's been announced out there on exit 86, there's nothing we can do without the land use ordinance. And so I encourage my residents in the Lead Mines District to reach out to me to provide me a voice, because that's what I am, is their voice. I am not, if I do it on my own, or I submit my opinion or my thoughts, I am not doing what I feel I'm elected to do. I am the voice for my Lead Mines District. And so if they can reach out to me, I'd appreciate it. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burnett. Ms. Crockett?
Have to apologize, I'm not much of a public speaker. And I do appreciate how great of public speakers we have in this community. I've heard quite a bit about what our views are on data centers, and honestly, I envy those who feel one way or the other passionately. I personally find myself somewhere in the middle. The one at Progress Park, you know, I think about what would have happened to me if I would have had to vote on that, because I didn't. And I still struggle with that, because I see both sides of it, and that happens a lot for me. Wythe County is my home, but I spend a lot of time outside of this community. And I see us falling behind on school infrastructure, outdoor recreation areas, but I also love the land. I was raised to preserve the land, and that means a lot to me. If you don't know where I live, then you should know that my family has lost that battle over and over again. So to see somebody sell 1,000 acres for industrial use is hard for me, and is much different than a lot in an industrial park going to a data center. So I know that's not really an answer, and I'm trying for it to be, but that's all I have right now.
Thank you, Mr. Crockett. Mr. Cook?
As for me, I support the data center in Progress Park. I think that's what it was designed for. As far as the 1,000-acre one out at Exit 86, I'm against it. That's why I'll tell you right now, I am for land use and the zoning. And the faster we can get it, the better off I am. I will continue to push for the land use ordinance every chance I get. I'm not happy that we're waiting until June 22nd, but that's when it's scheduled. And then we're gonna have public hearings after that, and I just don't want it to stretch out forever and ever. I think it's something we really need. I know a lot of people are against it, but we need it. We need it in Wythe County. And for all you people that are here talking about data centers, I would highly encourage you to, in your conversations with data centers, to other people, to bring them against it, to also support land usage, the zoning. Because the more people come in and say they're for zoning, I mean, it's just like this data center. I'm gonna tell you, the people that are for data centers, I haven't heard a word from them. Because they don't care. It doesn't bother them. The people that are against it are the ones that want to stand up and talk. It's the same way with this zoning. Who do you think the people are that come talk to us about zoning? The ones that don't want it. The ones that don't care, that are for it, don't care. So they don't say nothing. So when you're talking to your people about data centers, talk to them about the zoning. Tell them to come talk to us. And when they're talking here about no data centers, throw in a pitch about, yeah, and I'm for zoning. Because we need support for zoning, because you talk to anybody on this board, and everybody that's come talk to them is against it. And I don't know how you can be against the data center, or against the data center and against zoning. Because you gotta have one or the other. And that's where I stand. Progress Park, that's what it was designed for, in my opinion. Now, away from residential areas is out there, I'm for it. The ones that are taking, same thing with solar farms. I am not for selling farm property for solar farms. I think they look atrocious when you drive down the interstate and look at them, even though I got some on my house. it's a different story. And that's all I have, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Cook. Mr. Martin?
That's quite a hard act to follow, Mr. Cook. But as to go along with what Mr. Cook and Ms. Crockett said, I'm still on the fence with data centers. I just don't know enough about them. But I will say, predominantly to you two young ladies, I'm a lifelong resident of Wythe County. I'm right in the middle of production agriculture. So if we lose land, we lose production. We've got to look at this thing from the zoning side of it as well. And I've got friends and constituents in my area of the county that they don't want anything to do with it. But we've got to come up with something to go along with this zoning to slow, not to stop progress, not to slow progress, but to direct progress. And my theory there is no different than me planting grass. I can scatter that seed wide open just anywhere and on good ground, and it'll take hold and it'll grow and you'll have a carpet. But when I plant corn, I've got that machine set up so that it precisely puts those kernels at a specified distance, and my rows are at a specified distance apart, and I want them straight. We need to be able to where we can work with progress, guide progress, and not it just be willy-nilly. And unfortunately, that's where zoning comes into play. At this point in time of the game, I'm still riding the fence on the zoning, but just like Mr. Burnett said, we've got to, it's not what I want, it's not what Mr. Burnett wants, but it's what the people that elected us want. And I'm finished.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Mr. Morgan?
I'm going to build on that a little bit. They pretty much said what needs to be said. But we do need to, I've been a lifelong person that was against zoning. I am against too much government. But with the way things are going, we got to have some kind of control. Now, unfortunately, we have less control over these data centers than we do solar farms. And that's one thing I want to mention. Where was everybody at when the solar farms came in? You see what we've got. Now, and again, zoning, all my constituents, everybody I talk to, it's a hard no. So there we are with that. But we've got to have some kind of control. I don't know what it's going to be, but some way or another. And another thing, if you look at the stuff coming out of Richmond right now, they are pushing for these data centers. Okay? And it comes to a point where if they say you got to do it, you got no choice. So that's one of the reasons why these elections, off-year elections, matter so much. We need, especially you young people, we need to get you and your friends out to vote. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. I've got quite a bit. So while we're talking about the data centers, I'll just go ahead and jump in on that, and the zoning as well. So I was supportive of the one that's in Progress Park. I don't like to see farmland go out and be destroyed. That's why I was a big proponent against the solar. I don't like solar. Solar poisons the land. They destroy the topsoil. I don't care what you say. We got a guy that lives here in Wythe County that can prove that. Talking about zoning, I'm just going to tell you how I've communicated this to all of my constituents in my district. If I have to make the decision as Jamie Smith, I'm a no vote for zoning. I don't like the government telling me what I can and can't do with my property. However, I do realize the risk, and that's what we're seeing. by not having the zoning here. But it's not my vote that I'm gonna cast. It's the people that I represent in the Fort Chiswell district. However they want me to vote, that's how I'm gonna vote. As Mr. Burnett said, a lot of the people that we're getting that's coming to me, I know me and Mr. Burnett's talked a lot, me and Mr. Morgan's talked a lot, because a lot of our districts overlap. The majority of the zoning conversations that we have is no, do not vote for zoning in this county. And a lot of it's coming from people that's in agriculture, which is kind of surprising in a way, especially when you're seeing what's happening at Exit 86. That one hit close to home. I've got some hunting property down there. It's right next to that. It could easily be that property. So that's kind of where I'm at. It's not how I want to vote as far as zoning. The education piece is the big piece. People's got to understand what the zoning is. But that zoning ordinance, if it's passed, it's only as good as the 7 members sitting on this board. It could be as good or it could be as bad. And I see a lot of people that's shaking their heads. So the 7 people on this board controls that ordinance once it's intact. All it takes is a public hearing to let people talk. That doesn't mean that they're gonna do what you're asking them to do. So just keep that in mind. But I just wanna I wanna be truthful and candid with you. That's kind of where we are with the zoning and the data centers. So with that, I got a couple other things I'll talk about as well. So speaking of the data centers, with the one that we know that we supported in Progress Park, and the unsolicited one that was just announced late last week, I think that there's opportunity for us to develop a task force, a couple of task force. So one of them being the one that we need to do immediately, and I've got as option 2, which I'm gonna move up to 1, is we need to have 2 members from this board and 2 members from the school board, and we need to go ahead and start looking ahead at how we're gonna spend the money that's coming in for these data centers. We don't need to wait till the money starts flowing. We need to have those projects lined up, because they're coming, right? We know Solus or Fluid Stack, it's coming. That revenue's coming to the county. The schools in this county, we need to be looking at that and what's best for the youth of this county as far as their education and their school systems. So we need to go ahead and get those projects out. The other part of it is the option 1, which I've moved to 2. We, as a board, we need to reach out to the community, and we need to have community town halls, whether it be me and Jesse, since our districts overlap, me and Ms. Crockett, our districts overlap, whether it be me and Mr. Morgan, or whether it's just me or one of the other board members meeting with citizens of our districts in these small town hall settings to understand what the needs are in the communities that these finances can go to. One we know is the schools. We got Spiller Elementary back here, it's sitting across town. We got Fort Chiswell High School, Fort Chiswell Middle School, and dire needs of upgrades. So we don't need to waste this money. We need to make this money go where it needs to go. So that's the school board piece. These town halls, we can touch base with the citizens of the county. We already know that there's areas for public water, public sewer, whatever, roads, whatever else that we need to make sure that we're looking at that. Fire and rescue, emergency services, new equipment. So we don't need to wait till it's gone, the sheriff's department. What do we need to provide to the citizens with the money that's coming in? Again, I don't think we need to wait. I think I would like to ask for a motion to go ahead and get the county administrator and the county staff to start working on these 2 options.
So move here.
So I got a motion by Mr.
I'll
Morgan,
second
got a
that.
second by Mr. Martin. Is there any questions or concerns on any of that? Let's do a roll call. vote.
Mr. Smith, if you wouldn't mind, would you like to use the capital improvement plan as one of the basic documents for that work? Because you already planned out a lot of the potential costs there.
I think we can, and I think, with these joint meetings and these task teams that we've got, that we'll develop with the school board, I think we can look at all the needs of the schools. We know there's some big needs with Spiller and Fort Chiswell High School and Middle School, but then what does the other schools need that we need to fast track? Jackson is one of them that we need to look at. So, yeah, I think we can use that as a roadmap to keep us directionally in line, and we can add to it as we get information from the community. But I think it's important to interact with the community to see what their needs in their particular areas. So we got a motion and a second. We'll start with you, Mr. Burnett.
Aye.
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 So approved, thank you. So I'll get off of that, and then the last couple of things I got, I do want to thank VDOT. I know Jesse's already done that, but I do want to thank them for their response with the correction of the roads, repairs that they made on the roads, also with the mowing that they're starting. So I know that there's some areas, and I know they haven't got to all the communities yet, but they're out doing it, so I do want to thank them for their efforts there. I do want to thank the Sheriff's Department and Sheriff Klein and his department, along with the New River Jail, for sending the inmates up to pick up trash on Chapman Road and Lots Gap. And then if there's any roads that you need them on, let us know. We'll get it to Sheriff Klein and they can do that. And then the last thing I got, please keep Logan Utt's family in your thoughts and prayers. He is the deputy that lost his life over in Carroll County, and as a tragedy, and you hear all the time, it won't happen in a small town. That's a small town next door to our town. So I do want to thank each board member. For the people that doesn't know, we had an emergency meeting where I reached out to all of the board meetings, and then we reached out to Mr. Bear to approve the overtime for these deputies that's standing in the back. Thank y'all for y'all's service as well. To go over and support Carroll County in this time of need. So I do appreciate that. So that's all I've got. Is there anything else to come before the board, Ms.? Oh, I'm sorry. I was about to get us out of here. So I'll entertain a motion to go into closed meeting under Code of Virginia 2.2 3711A5 prospective business or industry project Corcus.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Morgan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Martin. Questions on that? We'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Morgan.
Aye.
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 All right, so we're now in closed session. All right, I'll entertain a motion to come out of closed session.
So moved.
A motion by Mr. Morgan, second by Mr. Martin. We'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Burnett? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
We're now in open session. Mr. Martin, you read the certification?
I'll do my best. Whereas the Wythe County Board of Supervisors has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. And whereas Section 2.2-3712, the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the Wythe County Board of Supervisors that such meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Wythe County Board of Supervisors hereby certifies that, to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempt from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in closed meeting, to which this certification resolution applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the Wythe County Board of Supervisors.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the certification.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Cook. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. With that, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Morgan?
Aye.
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 All right. Is there any more business to come before the board, Mr. Byrne?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Rankin?
Just would say I do apologize for being late to the meeting. Our EMS system is designed to be resilient in such a way that sometimes our management staff has to go drive an ambulance or serve in the back of an ambulance. All of our management staff was working in an ambulance. We had a two-vehicle, three-patient serious crash in Barron Springs this afternoon, and that took all of us away and
down there. So I do apologize for being late, but our system worked as it was designed to do.
All right. Very good. We'll let you slide on this time. Hopefully everybody's okay.
Getting there, I think.
Mr. Fothering?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Ms. Collins? All right, any member of the board? All right, with that, we'll be recessed until June 15th, 2026 at 5 PM with a joint meeting with the Joint IDA Board.